Music is a open letter to the world. Music don't carry any color. You hear it and you like it.
The seeds for, what we take for granted, this multicultural society that we live in now, they were really formed on the dance floor back in the day in the late 60s, early 70s.
This was something which just came from left field. We knew about soul, we knew about Tamla Motown, but this one just sort of slipped in like a Trojan horse.
Trojan have a massive collection of Jamaican gold. I call these records gold.
This is the Caribbean. It's full of islands, thousands of them. Let's go to Jamaica, one of the bigger islands.
Duke Reed the Trojan. He started off as a policeman. He retired from the force and started liquor store business. You could leave his business place open and nobody don't go in there and take out nothing. He was a no-nonsense man. But Duke Reed, he had one of the best and heaviest sound in Jamaica.
No more dogging, fooling around with you.
Duke Reed's song was Duke Reed the Trojan, probably after the Trojan horse. The sound system bring out everybody together, dancing and celebration. It become a way of life. You start me in the business, give me free studio time. Most of these pioneers gone from sound system days. Only a few of us leave.
Here come the Trojan!
Tonight at Forrester's Hall, you will be dancing to His Mightiness Duke Reed the Trojan and all that. Those guys could run Jamaica, All of these songs come up and everybody start being in competition with one another.
Walking with my baby, she got great big feet. She
You have Sir Cox's downbeat.
But she's my baby. And I love her just the same.
You have King Edward the Giant. That was another song. He's still alive.
The sounding system actually changed the whole concept of entertainment from live band to music by record.
Mama didn't know what Caledonia was putting down. So I'm going down to Caledonia.
Nobody seems to realize that the base of reggae came from we having the sound system. But the tunes that we used to play in Jamaica in the 50s were American records.
When the rhythm and blues dried up now, they start making their own records to play on the sound system. Or it's going to become an industry now.
They used to call me Liquor Richards, through me imitate Liquor Richards. They say, Richards, you know, you're Juke Reed doing some audition to recording. I say, yes. I say, where Juke Reed was at? Told me at Band Street and Charles Street. I said, okay, I didn't have a song ready. So when I went there, I saw this man and said, Mr. Reed, I heard that you're doing audition for artists. So. And he said, can you sing? I said, yeah. I said, well, sing. I said, okay then. I want a girl to dance with me. I want a girl to romance me. I want a girl who care for me. Oh, my darling, won't you let me be? Oh, oh, pretty baby, will you dance with me? And they recorded it the Thursday.
I want a girl to dance with me. I want a girl to romance me.
It's Saturday. I hear my song for the very first time on radio. I start running around the place and calling everybody, listen this is me, Derek, me sing. Oh God, I think I was in heaven. Because I say, if this is heaven, Lord, let me die here. They used to call me the hit maker and the hit breaker. Because all of my songs become #1 songs.
Duke Reed knew what he wanted. Duke makes some of the biggest hits in Jamaica. Derek Morgan start up. He's now, we call him the king of ska. The name Ska was a guy named Trojan. He had his band, and he was trying to explain to his musician, make the guitar go ska, ska. A man said, him say, well, play ska now, the name Ska.
Ska music is an up-tempered music, because we need something to bounce. We use the guitar, you know, to give you that chip. But the solidity behind that is the bass, man, with that pattern.
When it hit you, you got to move. The rhythm of that music, it just keep you moving.
Ska is a lively music. When a man plays ska, you know, more ching, ska, ska, ska. The ska is the backbone. Ska, if ska not in it, is not Jamaican music at all. There
wears an air of expectancy as the moment approaches for the arrival of Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret at the ceremonies which will mark Jamaica's attainment of independence.
When Jamaica get independent in 1962, everyone was there and they danced that night. Everybody rubbing up on one another and, you know, it was a very great night.
Kingston was fun, you know. Much loving in Jamaica. Plenty of them start migrating to England here. We go to a lot of send-off party when we was growing up and things like that.
It is the first time that people knew that they could just pay a passage and go to England.
Paris sees the arrival of more than 400 happy Jamaicans. They've come to seek work in Britain and are ready and willing to do any kind of job that will help the motherland along the road to prosperity. They're all full of hope for the future, so let's make them very welcome as they begin their new life over here.
And most of the records that were made, the local music by Jamaican people. Then the whole culture of the sound system migrates to England. They now start what we started.
My mom was a broken marriage, eh? So she got fed up and went to London. And I joined her about 2 years after. Bits of it was a bit rough. The weather. Well, it's mainly the weather. You don't forget those things, do you? I remember arriving, I think it was Victoria Station or something like that. And my mom wasn't there. I said, what's going on here? I hailed a taxi and went to Forest Gate.
London is a city of change and contrast. The River Thames reflects the brooding centuries of history and the bright swirl of today, of life. Said Dr. Johnson, when a man is tired of London, he's tired of life.
I heard that England had a lot of money and have a lot of facility, that it was paved with gold. My parents decided to bring me to England. I didn't want to come. When I come here, I give a lot of trouble to go back to Jamaica, you know, because I didn't like it. When I was in Jamaica growing up, I have a lot of fruit tree that I could climb. The sea, I could go and swim in and go to the river and play cricket with my friends. That was a mental strain to miss all of those younger days in Jamaica.
I was a rude boy, but I also was very ambitious. I'm in a scene, I could get myself killed or end up in prison. So they took me out and, you know, come to England. I thought I'm gonna have a better life at that time, and it was worse. The young white kids, they don't know. They're not used to black people. Gollywog, they used to call me, brushhead. When you come into school, things on the bench like peanuts and bananas. And this is the kids they used to do. You know, kids are crazy, you know. It was a very, very bad experience, but it's made me tough. Because of this, I ended up doing boxing.
Straight out. All right, let me see you try it now. Straight.
The other guy was boxing for sport, but I was boxing for revenge. Like an animal, you beat a dog every day, he's gonna bite you one day, you know?
They're a nuisance when you've got to walk past them in the streets, they won't move.
So you wouldn't be too happy if one moved in next door to you?
I shouldn't be happy at all.
Well, I would deport them. They're nothing but a scourge on the good land.
When I come to be the school champion, that's all gone. They never call me out the name, they said the champ. So I got to fight with my fists to get some kind of respect, and it turns out okay, you know? I'm still living, and some of my friends are dead. You know, when Teddy Boys killed a lot of them in those days, you know?
When I come here, I sign on at the Youth Exchange in Balam. I wanted was to go back to Jamaica so much, I have to go and get myself a job. So one day, pull the card out, and the card said, NCP, no colored people. All of those cards, they couldn't send me as a Jamaican to those jobs. The Jamaica music was what kept us going. So if we want to know what music make in Jamaica, we have to go to the sound system. And at the same time, the sound system is holding up our culture. We end up in basements, that's where we're coming from. In any little dump, anywhere we clean that out, you know, and put some boxes. Some people clear out their house.
Every 2 weeks or so, he would have a dance, right? And he would clear the furniture out. And big boxes come in, and boom, yeah, session.
You said it, so are the blazing fire.
You couldn't go to the white clubs, you know, simple, you know. So that's a natural thing. You make your own fun.
They were all sung by you, and now we act back to.
I remember neighbors would call the police. They're playing this jungle music. Yeah, serious, yeah.
But when I were with you,
music was the thing that gives you a lift each day.
live and let others live.
As a young Jamaican in Britain, you know, or wherever you came from, as a black person, right? It was all music. Yeah.
Blazing fire.
Yeah, music was the only life that we have, you know, we could go and enjoy ourselves. And that's how the records start to get big, start to know, and the sound system start to play it, people start to love it, you know what I mean?
Stick and a stone can break my bone, even sitting on a throne. But words from your mouth can bore me into. What are you going to do?
I met Lee Gopfel first in 1963. I just left school then, you know. You know, we became, in a sense, friends. And he had this mail order thing going where he was selling a lot of West Indian records. Owen Gray, Jackie Edwards, Prince Buster, Derek Morgan, all those big guns. Lee gave me a box of records,
The weekend, I sold them off. So I remember calling up Lee on the Tuesday. Says, Lee, record's finished. He said, what? So he said, you got to come down coming weekend for more, right? So I went, sold them off again the following weekend, you know. Jamaican music, yeah, it was a piece of home, don't it?
I met Chris Blackwell, who wanted to start Island Records, and part of my job was as a specialist buyer and seller of West Indian records. Lee had this building, 108 Cambridge Road, and when we moved in there, Island Records, in the very early days, he saw an opportunity because we were a Jamaican music company. My Boy Lollipop from Millie Small sold 4 million worldwide, and even sold in places like Ecuador. Lee was an Asian Jamaican, but he was a businessman. But in some ways, obviously, did attract Lee's attention to the West Indian market, because Lee thought, well, you know, maybe this is an opportunity to get into the business. So that's how it really sort of happened.
Millie Small record, My Boy Lollipop. It's a cover version. But it did well, you know, to see one of our Jamaica lady from Clarendon in the chart.
Lee mail order business expanded so much that he started a record shop in Wilson Lane. I think it was called Music Land. And then it was about 6 shops. It was a comfort zone for, you know, West Indian in England, you know? So in those days, records sold like I said, hot cakes. League also was instrumental in getting me started in my music career.
Well, I know a lot about Rudeboy, you know. I grew up in that era. Rudeboy does a lot of things. Most of those old-time Rudeboys, they were followers of Duke Reid and Coxsone Sound and King Edwards. Some of them is thief, some of them is old prisoner, some of them reform. There was like gods and kings in them days.
Try to know the right from wrong. Wise as a serpent.
Rudeboy then was classified as one of these rough guys. Cap pulled down in face that you cannot recognize them. And he just do what he feels when he wants to.
Like I know of one. His name was Busby. He's a rude boy. He come to me and him said, look, everybody is sing about rude boy. I don't hear you sing about a rude boy yet. I want you to sing a rude boy song of me. And I want it this weekend. Because I'm having a dance. And I want that song to play. And that was when I make Rudy's Don't Fear. And the night of the dance, he gave it to the DJ guys.
Rudy's in court now, boys. Rudy's in court. Rudy's in court.
12 o'clock the night, the guy put on the song. And said, give me a box of beer.
Now, this court is in session. And I order all you rude boys to stand.
I went to reach tougher and tough, strong like lion, we are high, and then just take up a beer and crush against the one and say, higher.
Rougher than rough, tougher than tough, strong like lion. We are iron. Rudies don't fear, no boys. Rudies don't fear.
3 girls were standing on the stairs, so him just go upstairs and start wet them up with the beer. He saw a little boy come in front of him with a gun. You name Busby? And when he look and see like a guy with a gun, the guy hand shaking I heard. And meanwhile, him get a gunshot from another side, right into him head and kill him.
Rudies don't fear, no boys. Rudies don't fear. Rudies don't fear, no boys. Rudies don't fear. Rougher than rough.
In England, you started hearing about these rude boys. It became a thing that everybody wanted to do a rude boy song. So it came to me one day, why not me?
Stop your running about. It's time you straighten right out.
Stop your running around. Time you straighten right out. Stop your running around, making trouble in the town. Oh, Rudy, yeah, a message to you, Rudy. A message to you. My song wasn't big enough, as we say, the rude boy. I was talking to them and say, hey, cool it, you know. Think of your future and things like that. A message to you, Rudy. A message to you. Something like that. I remember I got a phone call from Lee Gopko, and he said, come and see me. I'm starting up something, and I want you to be part of it. So I said, yeah, hey, great.
Island and League Up Tall, the two guys them get together. League Up Tall was a gentleman. And I knew his grandfather from Jamaica. I knew him through in the record business and as a gentleman that helped us out a lot. Him and the veterans. Before I come to England, plenty of my friends come over that I grew up with. So this was an opportunity to come and see.
Stop you running around, making trouble in the town.
I came here February 1968. It was strange because, you know, I'm cold. When a man laugh, you see like him smoking a cigarette, but the time was so cold. The great Dave Betry that I tell you now, he came and picked me up in a little car named MG. We go to Cambridge Road.
The 1960s were recovering. It was the first time when people had a bit of money in their pocket. Everything was, up for sale, basically. We decided to merge whatever talents we had as music people, and it was a convenience for all of us. And so it was a coming together, really, of one of those events.
I ran into Bunny Lee for the first time. And we got on good, and Lee was juggling with names to name the company.
When they was wondering what to call the new company now.
And Bunny looked at me, and I looked at Bunny. And somehow he said, "What about Trojan Records?" I said, "Yeah, great." And that was it, bang.
Trojan was the most appropriate thing because Duke Reed the Trojan. Duke Reed make good records, So when Trojan label farm up here, it was a plus.
Having a label in England, it should be great. I did my first session about 2 months after that for Lee Goffel. And I think an album of mine was the first album that came out on Trojan, if my memory serves me right.
After that, I went back to Jamaica and I started making a lot of songs.
Well, it was good when Trojan set up, because we could say, yeah, reggae has got a home.
In this country, in 15 or 20 years' time, the black man will have the whip hand over the white man. Well, I can already hear the chorus of execration. How dare I say such a horrible thing?
Yeah, I came across prejudice, of course, There are too many of you people here. Yeah. That was a shock,
Why Enoch Powell make a speech like that? We still see some of it, what he was saying in the street of England. And in fact, we never like him after that.
Sing it up, mister! Hear what I say, sir, yeah.
Well, Rocksteady was slower reading.
Hands in the air, sir!
Reggae come to take over.
Yeah. Then you will get no hurt, mister. No, no, no.
I'm a different kind of rude boy. A musical rude boy. And I'm the inventor for the word reggae.
I said yeah. I said yeah. What they say. What they say. Don't you hear? I say yeah. This is what they say. What they say. Do you believe I would take something with me and give it to the policeman? I wouldn't do that. And if I do that, I would say, sir, come on and put the charge.
Reggae was there playing all the time for a good while without anyone know that it's reggae,
I'm not a fool to hurt myself. So how
we used to have a slang in Jamaica called streggae. If the girl not looking good, we call her streggae. So maybe I take it from that word, from streggae to reggae.
Oh yeah, give it to me one time.
Well, I heard a lot of people talk about reggae track. Bunny Lee says he first. Toots says him first. Everybody said them first. They even brand me as the first reggae. Because I heard that the first reggae track was him 7 letters. I don't know how true that was because really I don't study those things. I just sing to a rhythm.
This is my lost letter, baby. I just can't write to you anymore. My poor little finger's sore.
This is one of the early reggae tunes. I remember I put out this song on, well, this was an early label with Trojan. I can never leave the music. The ska and the bass and drum is the foundation. It's the organ shuffle. That is what we call reggae. You hear the organ, because that was the new thing, the new sound. That's reggae sound. The organ shuffle. Don't make no goose or nobody tell you. If that shuffle not in the music, is not reggae.
I was all alone and blue. Tuesday I wrote again, baby. I said I love no one.
The word reggae started to be used a lot, right? Reggae. The Jamaican stuff came up. But there was this thing of wanting to create a British sound out of the Jamaican stuff, which we did.
Reggae. Lady, come make the action begin. Lady, come make the action begin. Come make the reggae inna your jaggy. Come make the reggae inna your jaggy.
We were doing our own brand of reggae, which the English kids love. Things like red wine, reggae in the jaggy.
Lady, me no want no bangarang. Lady, me no want no container. Me just want the reggae in a.
Well, I didn't work for Trojan until 1968 or 69, I should think. My first job with Trojan was as a production manager, and I was dealing with the factory and ordering the records and the labels and record covers and stuff like that, you know. The pirate stations would play records pretty consistently if they were popular in the clubs.
This wonderful Radio 1 on 247 meters.
But BBC playing the records was quite problematic to begin with. The music was really looked down upon by the music establishment.
Reggae go through a lot of victimization in the beginning, you know. None of the major radio stations, 70s coming down, would not touch reggae. I hear even Tony Blackburn, he said that reggae was rubbish. We, the sound system in England, we persevere with this music because we love it.
Do you think this is a great handicap to the music, the way that it seems to be fashionable at the moment for disc jockeys to knock it?
I think some of the papers were trying to knock it as classifying it, or the BBC, or, you know, they classify reggae, but I don't think the public classify it that much. They just buy if they like.
Any tune that Trojan release, I would get it. As long as I go over there to the Trojan office, they gave it to me. I didn't have to pay for it.
One of the rather wonderful things about the Jamaican music business is the pre-release. They just do a limited pressing with just a white label, a blank label. It goes back to the sound systems in the 50s in Jamaica. And they would go out to the sound systems, and it was test marketing.
Was there with me to tell the teddy bear's tale. The teddy bear came smiling there with a big smile.
Certainly by the late 60s, we put out certain things on pre-release just to see if the sound systems would play it, the clubs liked it. He was a businessman first and foremost, but I think he had a pretty good ear for a commercial record, for a good tune.
Was there with me. I rode through the valley with the princess by my side. The Duke and the Duchess did a reggae last night.
pirate radio when it first started. It's like someone had turned the light on. I never forget we were sitting out the back one summer, drying ground, come whatever, playground at the back of the flats, and listening to the radio. And hearing 007, Desmond Decker. It was like a message from another planet. Just listen to this. This is just great. You know, and that kind of differentness, that's what really got us going. It was a very, very marked audience who wanted, you know, black people, obviously, but, you know, working class white kids as well. And basically, it was ours. I got my hair cut really short, summer '68, like everyone did. Tom the barber on Maple Road used to specialise in the haircut.
No, the skinheads were some young guys wearing braces and some big boots, and they were the Rudeboys in England. They can identify with it.
80% of the West Indians were working class, and the skinheads, they were working class kids.
It was that sort of time where it was just crying out for something new. And really it was a rebellion against the long hair and the horrible flower power music, you know.
Why do you think the greasers are so different to you? Because they're dirty and stinky and they got long hair.
But it was a sense of belonging. You belonged to that sort of skinhead group, and you followed it all the way through. You don't deviate. It was like joining the army, really, in a way. I suppose you had an instant group of friends, and if you went to another town or another place and there was another group, you instantly got on, you know.
It wasn't cheap. You know, even a Ben Sherman was 3 guineas. Getting a pair of shoes from the squire shop, 8 guineas. But that's over 2 weeks' wages if you were just working, or even if you had a proper job, that's half your wages.
The skinheads kicked it off out of the Jamaican market. But it was quite small in the beginning, and it was also, like a lot of specialist sounds, not really considered outside of the halls.
Reggae music really makes sense, because look, skinhead come and endorse it and like it, you know. We are trying to play it for the people to love it. And then the skinhead come. Yeah, I did like the skinhead. You know what I mean? Skinhead did come and love up the reggae.
The music was always there from a little boy. Even when I was a little rude boy in Jamaica, it's always to do with music. One of our greatest ambitions to sign with Trojan, because ordinarily most of the greatest Jamaican artists was on Trojan Records.
Do the moon hop. Do the moon hop. Mix it with the kangaroo. Jump. Mix it with the kangaroo. Jump.
Derek Morgan came up with a song called Moon Hop. At the same time, the men just supposed to be landing the moon. And then Graham Goodall said to us, you guys have so many skinhead fans. Why don't you write something about the skinheads? I swear in my life right now, drop dead right now, we didn't write one lyrics. I just went in the box and started talk.
I want all your skinheads to get up on your feet. Put your braces together and your boots on your feet. And give me some of that old moon stomping.
happen. And the same week they release it, it just take off.
Get ready. We got 3 million miles to reach on the moon. So let's start getting happy now. Ready? Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Skinhead Moonstone was an anthem that Trojan had produced. There were skinheads on the front of the album, so people bought it, but it was the track.
Now, before we reach on the moon, fellas, we gotta make sure that everything is spick and span.
The good side of skinheads, they didn't beat up black people. Skinheads said the black people like us because they even cut the haircut what they have. We brought that from Jamaica. We used to call it skiffle.
Brush your teeth, because the man on the moon looking different from man on the earth.
Without the British skinheads, because of them, that reggae music is still going on up to this day.
My name is Caleb. Right. And remember, I'm the boss. You can see, look on my foot, or my feet, whatever you want to call it, you can see I've got the biggest boots. That's all right. Now! I brought a few records along today. Spin a couple of them for you. This is Tighten Up by the Untouchables. It's an early Lee Perry record.
Island record could not hold me down. Trojan record lift me up and have me recrowned. Get up, wake up and shake. From the Scratch Perry, the upsetting upsetter. Look at my ring. And I'm the star of the Trojan horse and the ride. My song, This Goes People Out London, is hit like that.
In '69, we started the Tighten Up series of LPs. They were sort of collections of the last few months' best-selling reggae 45s.
Tighten Up was money. It was a money maker. We put a compilation together, and it proved very successful.
Well, it was the tracks that was on there. The Tighten Up albums were all good. Every one of them was good. It was probably the best group of albums, I think, that they actually did, you know.
Return of Django, like you know, it was a hit.
Scratch was a genius. He knew exactly what he wants. Even though he could not play any instrument, he could tell you and describe to you what he wanted.
It's a dream. Comic music, magic music.
Everyone had to have Tighten Up Volume 2. We had every popular hit. Return of Django, Long Shot Kick the Bucket. And everyone carried it under your arm. That was more so than the singles in the charts. That was the thing that really popularised the music, because every house you went into, there was a copy of Tighten Up Volume 2.
All of a sudden, this new format called reggae comes about, and we were at the right place at the right time to capitalize on it. When we recorded Long Shot Kick the Bucket, one take. Yeah, and to me, Long Shot Kick the Bucket is a household name in London and across the universe. Speak. Massive massive, 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 and it's still selling.
I'd never ever heard ska music before, and I didn't grow up in an environment because I had older parents, and my parents were white because I'd been adopted. My introduction to ska music, since I was the only black kid in the school, was via these skinhead kids who came from Dagenham. And when you got to the 5th or the 6th form, you had a room in there that you could go to. There was an old red dancette in there, and they would bring records in, normally Trojan ones. There seemed a rightness about it, because offbeat music just makes you want to dance. It doesn't matter whether it's kind of black people, white people, Asian people, whatever. And I think that that's what ska music, rocksteady music, reggae music, you call it what you will, that's what was offered to this country, this colourless, post-war, grey, fairly miserable meat and potatoes country.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, get up in the morning, slaving for bread, so that every mouth can be fed.
I mean, he was powerful.
Desmond Dekker definitely brought the whole music persona to people's attention.
It was just so exciting to see him on stage and to be in that venue. It was such adrenaline.
Get up in the morning, slaving for exercise, so that every mouth can be. I said, a boy with Israelites.
I knew that our music wasn't only entertaining.
See, I said, a boy with Israelites.
Before the show started, we were all inside, and Desmond gonna go on stage, and he had on this nice knitted tie. I said, Desmond, take off the tie. No, man, you have to go on stage presentable. I said, yes, but right now you're sweet. And just as he hit the stage, a group of young kids, white kids, they mobbed the stage and hang on his tie. And I've never seen a black man turn red before.
It opened the floodgates, really. It was really the first really big reggae record.
I was living in Rugby, and TV was on, you know, with a little aerial. That's when Desmond Dekker came on. And as soon as I saw it, I goes, oh, there's a black person on TV. There wasn't no black singers on TV then. He had a presence on stage. I guess he was a rude boy as well, but not the gangster rude boy. He looked rude and he dressed rude. He looked cool, and I wanted to be like him.
I was a bit of a lad growing up. Neville, rude boy, bad boy. Like my dad used to say, behave yourself, boy. Rude boy. Are you so rude? Rougher than rough, tougher than tough.
Hey! I'm on way to Banbury Cars. There I see a monkey pan a white horse. Him have ring pan him finger and bells pan him toe. Sing a little song where man go.
When I came here, I felt like there was different about black British. My dad used to talk about it. You have to behave yourself. It's not like being in Jamaica. There was a lot of the racism at the time. It's the white parents who used to say, stop hanging around with those black kids, right? That's the only thing. But the kids themselves, we used to get on great. I took straight to them, they took straight to me. I had that thing in me, I just used to get on with anybody. With Trojan and stuff that we used to play over here a lot, the white kids used to get into it and they wanted to be part of it. So that was great because then we used to integrate with each other. We didn't think it was going to be massive. We just was doing it because that's how we felt as young kids growing up.
You know, I guess the early Jamaican music, for my parents, would have kind of reminded them of back home, a place they'd like to return to. But the music that was evolving out of ska and rock steady that would eventually form a large part of the Trojan catalogue was the soundtrack for my generation, and we weren't going anywhere. I heard all my first Trojan hits in my local youth club, which was in Stockwell. You know, things like Double Barrel, Liquidator, Long Shot, Kick the Bucket. You know, we'd be in our Skinhead gig, because Skinhead was the lick back then. And we're talking about the fashion version, not the fascist version that emerged later. You know, black and white kids were united through their love of music and style. And invariably, a lot of that music was the Trojan stuff. I'm what you'd call first-generation British-born black. We really didn't know where we fit in. And then we looked at Jamaica, and we were of Jamaica, but we weren't quite Jamaican either. So it took a long time for this black and British to actually mean something.
Young, gifted and black. Oh, what a lovely, precious feeling to be young, gifted and black. Open your heart to what I mean. In the whole world, you know, there's a million boys and girls who are young, gifted and black, and that's a fact. At time in Jamaica, there was a consciousness, you know, a black power consciousness going around, and everybody was wearing afro. I think it was my idea to do a version of that song. It just took off and everyone loved it. And even some of the musicians were saying, you know, we must listen to Marcia sometimes.
When you feeling real low, yeah, there's a great truth you should know.
Living in Romford was quite a strange place to live. I used to call it the breeding ground of the National Front. People I knew were no different from a lot of other white working class families in this country at the time, all harboured racist attitudes.
Time, weather,
Young, Gifted and Black gave a positive identity to so many young black children in this country at that time. And that was the first time, really, that I felt there was a positivity about being black. It was just like a song. There was just no arguing with it.
April 26th, 1970. Empire Pool, Wembley, London. The event, the Reggae Festival. 10,000 people came from all over the country. 10,000 young black and white kids.
Young, gifted, and black. Oh, how I long to know the truth.
Performing that song, wow. I felt as if I was in heaven. Reggae music, I think, now is an expression of your liberty, your lifestyle. People sing about what they live. And we're all one people at the end of the day.
Yeah, man, those time was brilliant. Music was proper, artist was proper, the respect, the discipline. Oh, it was so nice, you know, and the crowd that was there. Oh, boy.
Well, for me, that was the biggest crowd I've ever seen. That place was full with black and white. White on that side, skinheads, skinhead girl and so on, and mods and all this other stuff. On the other side, black people. But everybody was shouting at the same time. So, with the visualize, it was fantastic. When I come out there, I come out as a road boy as well, with no shirt on and braces and boots and flip-flop. I didn't sing, the band was doing an instrument and I was dancing and shouting like you, Roy.
Eily! I fall!
And you can see the people really getting into it. And the musician was also having fun as well. You'd have to be there to see that. It was a great, great feeling. And from there on, it makes me feel good. At least I created something in my life was what takes on the whole world.
It was dynamic. All those people were having hits. Yeah, boom time for reggae. Those 2 years, 69, 70, 71. Fantastic year for Trojan Records.
It sort of indicated a cultural shift. It crossed over from the immigrant population to the population at large. We were just so busy. There's so much stuff being sold.
We were astonished that it had gone into this, you know, huge success because we'd started it almost out of a convenience and now we were actually a mainstream record company.
Most of the time, these new releases wouldn't even get put away where they were supposed to go because we knew they were going to go out again so quickly. And there was just endless amount of great records, and it just seemed like it was unstoppable.
We had the opportunity to start talking to the BBC and saying, look, this is happening.
Number one for 6 weeks running, and it really is quite nice to have a brand new number one record, particularly when it's as good as this. So here is Dave and Ansel Collins with their number one song, which is called Double Barrel, isn't it? You forgot, didn't you? Here it is right now.
We went to Joe Gibbs' recording studio. The track was played, and I couldn't get the vibe on it. You know, I just couldn't. I tried and I tried. His brother said, Dave, just imagine that you were on the highest mountain in the world, and you feel gigantic. When he said that, what came to me was, I am the Magnificent, and I'm back from the Shaka sword balls, most thundering, storming, sound of soul.
I am W-O-O-O, and I'm still here again.
And I got my $20 and left the studio. I never thought about it again. Myself and the Sensations and Johnny Osborne, we guys were singing outside on the street. We got a phone call from Trojan. I think it was Lee Goptall. When Winston finished talking on the phone, he came outside to us. And he says, guys, that was a phone call from Trojan saying that it seems as if Double Barrel is going to hit the #1 slot in the charts.
You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want, but you must try.
At the time, Trojan was the Motown of reggae music.
We did come to take over the whole world before Motown.
Reggae was really selling in phenomenal quantities. It was relentless.
We have created a generation and lovers of reggae music. Alton Ellis, Ethan Trojan, John Holt, name it. Trojan have got all the artists.
I can remember Trojan having 5 records in the top 40 at one stage, you know, and that is something, don't it?
You succeeded.
24/7 I always be in the studio because Trojan put it out too. You understand?
Rome was not built in a day. Opposition will come your way.
Well, everything was happening so fast, I never had time to even pinch myself and say, where did all this come from? Because we were touring the entire England.
You can get it if you really want.
We were up and down the country. You know? Can't remember some of the names, and we went to like County Durham,
Birmingham, Leeds,
Lands and Penzance,
Manchester, Sheffield.
I remember going to the New Quay. I just remember just dipping my toe in the water and I think in the middle of summer.
We were just having a wonderful time.
You can get it if you really.
Trojan made money. What happened to the money after a while? Don't ask me. I don't know. Right?
You know, I don't remember hearing reggae on the radio at all until the early 70s, when Trojan scored, like, back-to-back hits. And they were clever, because what they did was they started to overdub original Jamaican tunes with strings. They kind of sweetened the sound.
Instead of making, like, you know, just the ethnic, just raw reggae, they had strings, which give it that icing like on the cake, and, you know, send it way off.
You keep telling me yes, but you don't mean it. You keep telling me no, and try to lean it.
With aiming at the commercial side of the music and the market, that had everything commercial written all over it.
Let your yeah be yeah, and you know me know now.
When strings go on it, it sound near to pop. And when a reggae tune have on strings now, it can identify with the soul music.
The string arrangements, they're ruining reggae. Young, Gifted and Black was maybe the first record we put an arrangement on. We did it with a lot of Jimmy Cliff stuff too. Certainly if you sweetened a record a little bit, there was a greater chance of getting it played. I mean, it was just a commercial, obvious thing to do. It was a bit like saying, I'd like to have a raise.
The demand that had generated out of the 70, 71, 18 months excitement of the skinheads and everything, everybody thought, not all of us, thought that, you know, now we should go, as it were, into the mainstream of music.
What happened is the young English people, kids, skinheads, they loved the hardcore reggae. Radio station didn't. Radio station associated as being violence. So the producers begin to try to become commercialized by making it poppy with strings and arrangements. Now and then you get a very special record, like Everything I Own.
You sheltered me from storm, kept me warm, kept me warm. You gave my life to me, set me free.
You know, you have to be strong when you're in music. You have to persevere.
The finest tears I ever knew. Good Lord.
So you have to just do what you're doing and love what you're doing.
And I would give anything I own. Give up my life, my heart, my own.
Trojan released the song in England, and I got a telegram saying that Everything I Own is in the charts. So I went up and I did a Top of the Pops. Bam, it went to about 19. Another Top of the Pops in the top 10. Another Top of the Pops in the 5. Another Top of the Pops #1.
And I would give anything I own. Give up my life, my heart, my own. And I would give anything I own just to have you back again.
The two proudest days of my life to that date was the day when Jamaica got independence and the first day Ken Booth sang for Top of the Pops. It was one of the all-time big reggae hits.
There was a gold rush of people producing records. And the problem was that we didn't really know what was happening. It was an 18-month period, and it just so happened it was a golden period in terms of what the Jamaican market was putting out musically. You know, there was guys were coming up with the right tracks and the right songs, and we were hitting the charts with it, but it faded away, unfortunately.
Looking back, they were just excited, you know, put out this, put out that, because they used to put about 6, 7 records out every week. And there was a lot of record for one company, one small independent company, right? And in the end, maybe that is the reason for the downfall, you know.
We put out a lot of records, and some sold and some didn't. Just the amount of product that Trojan was putting out, obviously some just fell sort of stillborn from the presses and just stuck there on the shelves. Shelf space is valuable. So you can't have stock sitting around that's not selling. We were liable for the tax of all the records. We had to destroy them.
Like in most business, you know, a group of guys, you're like a family, right? Trojan Records was like that first. But money is a tricky thing.
The company had got to the size, it had to feed itself. You couldn't go back to 1968. Trojan was a mess. I mean, I was to blame as much as anybody else there because, you know, we were not being disciplined. We weren't saying, no, you can't do that. I mean, you know, the success or failure was built by the success, and nobody had the guts to say, stop, this can't happen. Lee got himself, you know, there was never a huge amount of money flooding around in that company. It was, you know, and of course it went sideways, unfortunately.
By 1975, Trojan kind of disappears from the map. I think it was just a cultural climate. People wanted something different. And all of a sudden, the music in Jamaica got a lot harder, a lot more militant, a lot more politicized.
After the strings, right, died down, right, there was this thing, the roots music. There were more roots music coming on the scene. They weren't living up to what was happening, the changes, right?
Lee Gupta was a fine human being, a man of substance. He is a magical man in my life. They outplayed Lee. They shafted him, what they'd done, and it was just so sad to see his outcome and how he came to go down because he had one financial controller for his group of companies. They went to Soho Square to have a liquidator, well, a final meeting. Everyone was invited to come to see who is going to stay, who is going to be. We didn't even know the company was going to be taken over yet. Then he called Lee Gupta and said, Lee, I've got one question to ask you. Are you an Indian? Lee said, yes, I'm an Indian. He just said, well, if you're an Indian, why are you trying to run an empire? You should be running a greengrocer shop. Tears just flowed down from Lee Gupta's eyes. He just stood up there, couldn't move.
I was driving one day, I remember on North Circle Road. I stopped and someone said, hey, Trojan gone bus. I said, beg your pardon? Yeah, liquidation. I met Lee at Kingsbury, roundabout. There was a pub there, right? They said, oh, Danny, I'm sorry, but I don't know what happened, you know. But we'll pick ourselves up. Well, of course, you know, there was no picking up. It was a very sad moment, you know, for people. The only black record company in England.
Trojan is a name will ring and will never stop ring in reggae music because there was in there from the beginning.
I thought it was really important culturally, artistically, and I knew, deep in my bones that the people were going to be collecting these records for a long, long, long time.
Trojan is part of a sort of social history of music in this country. No question about it. It did bring people together.
Trojan's impact is indescribable. They were the catalyst that introduced the majority of the English population to Jamaican music.
Ever since Trojan became the soundtrack for what was the first multicultural movement in this country, the skinheads, it's managed to kind of have a presence all the way through up to the turn of the millennium, when the whole punk rock thing exploded in the late 70s. They were all well aware of the whole Trojan catalogue.
I would cite the Clash were the forerunners of the idea that white people and black people could make music together. And Two-Tone, I think, made that kind of flesh. It was white people and black people within the same band, on the same stage.
To see a black and white band in those days, it looked kind of weird, but then once it got popular, it just didn't matter.
A lot of the sonic experiments that were created are now part of the fabric of popular music. You know, the emphasis of beats, the development of rap, and most importantly, bass.
It's come from Jamaica and it's come from love. So love is the key.
The music is like water, it don't have no color, right? So anybody or everybody can like it.
If nothing less, the impact of reggae speaks volumes about the possibilities of culture to kind of bring people together. You know, church didn't do that, government didn't do that, politics didn't do that, music did that.
Well, Trojan Record must have done something good, right?